Today we're going to look at the Head Speed Pro 2024 racket test and review. Yes, this is the Yonex Sinner racket, albeit in stock condition. It's not as heavy as the Yonex Sinner racket, but still it's got a pretty good swing weight. We'll take a look at the specs in a minute and see how that looks. But it's a 18 by 20 string pattern, which for me means the ball is going to be a little flatter, and I like to hit with top spin. So getting spin on this racket, while not difficult, doesn't produce the big spin that I'm used to seeing on some of the 16 by 19 rackets, or in my case, as anybody who follows me knows, I just recently purchased the 2025 Yonex E-Zone 100. So later I'll be doing a comparison of that racket versus this racket. But, out of the box, I felt like the racket is definitely, the weight is in the handle. And it's 6 points headlight, which makes sense. But the weight, you can really feel it in the handle of this racket. Yeah, normally when the racket is, more headlight and you've got weight in the handle, the head wants to kind of swing through a little faster. I didn't really notice the head acceleration as much on the racket. It's very solid to hit with, though. If you really want to feel the ball, you can feel it with this racket. It does have a pretty high swing weight. It's 323 swing weight, which makes sense. You've got to generate some of that power on your own with this racket, which is fine. It's more of a feel racket to me, and in that way, if you are more of a flat hitter from the baseline or a big swinger from the baseline, this racket's probably going to be a really good fit for you, because when you really flatten this racket out, the ball really wants to jump and take off. So again, if you're more of a flat hitter on your forehand and your backhand, this racket will produce plenty of power on a flat drive, and no issues there. I will say, though, I can feel some vibration in the racket, and after hitting with the racket for maybe 20-30 minutes or so, I definitely felt some pain in my shoulder and in my wrist, which pretty much tells me there's a little more vibration than I'm used to with this racket, but that could just be me. And if you're not susceptible to vibration or real sensitive to it, then give this racket a try. But I could feel some vibration in the racket, so just thought I would bring that up. Here are the specs for the Head Speed Pro 2024. The weight is 11.5 ounces strong. And I would imagine for someone like Sinner, he's probably got a little more weight on this racket, potentially even in the head, to give him a little more plow through at the top. The beam width is 23 millimeters, and it's standard, all along the hoop. The flex is 61, which means it's a relatively soft racket. I shouldn't be able to feel the vibration that I do with this kind of flex, but somehow I still do feel that vibration. The string pattern is 18 by 20, and the swing weight is 326, which is a pretty good swing weight. It just means that you've got to provide a little bit more of the power on your shots than letting the racket sort of do the work for you. But it's got when you swing through this racket, it really does have nice contact on the forehand and the backhand. My overall scores for the racket is on the forehand, I gave it a 6.5, mainly because it's just really hard for me to access spin, and the racket seems to have a different launch angle on my forehand, so I rated that at a 6.5. Backhand 7.0, nice and flat. You can hit a nice flat backhand with power, and that seemed to work pretty good. Hitting the slice was really easy to get to. The racket turned really nice, and slice with depth was no problem with this racket. On the volley, I gave it a 7.0. You can really feel that weight of the handle on the volley, so it makes it real stable when you're hitting the volley. And then on the serves, I gave it a 7.0, again, mainly because I just struggled finding a big slice serve or a big kick serve. Hitting a nice flat serve is relatively easy with this racket, but I really struggled to find a big slice or kick serve with this racket. So who is this racket for? This racket is for, intermediate to advanced player who likes to hit big from the baseline, who likes to have the big serve, and can really take this racket, with a pretty decent swing weight and just drive the ball. That's what this racket's really for. If you look at Jannik Sinner's game, he hits that big flat forehand and that big flat backhand. And this racket is for that type of player, someone who can really, take advantage of the swing weight and the power behind this racket. Like I said, for me, I could feel vibration and it sort of hurt my arm, but that doesn't mean it's going to hurt your arm. I always recommend, to try these rackets out. Give them a good demo. If you really like the feel of the racket, usually within the first 10-15 minutes you're going to know if you kind of like that feel or not for the racket, and then make a good decision based on how it feels for you. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe if you did, and as always, I will see you on the court. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.